Ladies and gentlemen, let's get something straight right out the gate. There's a narrative out there that's been fed to us, repeated, reposted, and reinforced. A story that says a woman only wants you if you've got the car, the cash, the clout. But let me tell you something, powerful and unfiltered. A real woman, a good woman, isn't chasing your bank account. She's watching how you show up when the spotlight's off. She doesn't care about your status. She's paying attention to your stability. She's not measuring your worth by your wallet, but by your willingness to grow, to lead with honesty, to be emotionally available and grounded. This speech is for the men who are tired of performing and want something real. And it's for the women who know their value doesn't come from what they can take, but what they bring. This is about respect, about alignment, about understanding that the right woman will challenge you, not for what you have, but for who you are. So if you're ready to stop chasing validation and start building a love that's built to last, lean in, because we're about to separate the surface from the substance. A good woman doesn't walk into your life scanning for how much money you make or how impressive your title sounds. She's not measuring your worth by the digits in your account or the brand names stitched into your clothes. What she's really watching for is how present you are, how emotionally intelligent you've become through the things you've overcome. She's tuned into how you handle pressure, how you communicate when you're upset, how you treat people when you don't need anything from them. Because for her, wealth isn't about luxury, it's about depth. And emotional intelligence is one of the rarest currencies there is. You can't buy her peace. You can't flash your success and expect her loyalty. She's looking for a connection that's rooted in truth, not transaction. When she speaks, she's watching if you listen. Not just nod to respond, but actually lean in to understand. She's looking at how you treat your mother, your friends, the waiter at the table, because that's who you really are when the performance fades. And let's be honest, emotional intelligence can't be faked for long. You might win people over with charm, but it's your character that keeps them close. She knows what emotional maturity looks like. It looks like a man who can take responsibility without spiraling into defensiveness. It looks like someone who can admit when he's wrong without making it about shame. It looks like a partner who isn't afraid of hard conversations, who doesn't run when things get uncomfortable. She's not impressed by ego or dominance or power games. She's impressed by humility, by the man who can hold space for her emotions without trying to fix them or silence them. The man who knows that listening is a form of love, that consistency is more powerful than grand gestures. And let's not mistake this, a good woman isn't asking for perfection, she's asking for growth. She knows everyone comes with a past, she's not expecting you to have it all figured out, but she does want to know that you're doing the work, that you're willing to show up, take accountability, and evolve. She's attracted to self-awareness, not self-importance, confidence, not arrogance, vulnerability, not validation, seeking. Because in her world, emotional safety is the flex. And the ability to communicate honestly, manage emotions, and build trust is more attractive than any material thing you could ever give her. She's not waiting for a provider, she's looking for a partner, someone who values alignment over appearance, someone who can sit in the quiet with her and not feel the need to perform, someone who doesn't see emotions as weakness, but as the bridge to connection. And when she sees you've done the emotional work, when she sees you've built yourself from the inside out, that's when she starts to lean in, not because you tried to impress her, but because you gave her something far more rare, your real, authentic, grounded self. That's the kind of love that can't be bought, only earned. She doesn't care how many followers you have, how many people recognize your face in a room, or how many times your name has been mentioned in headlines. Clout doesn't impress her. It doesn't spark her curiosity or make her heart beat faster. She's not here for the show. She's here for the soul. Because to her, what makes a man attractive isn't how many people are watching him, but who he is when no one is. Your reputation might open the door, but your integrity is what keeps her there. She wants to know that who you say you are is exactly who you'll be when life gets hard, when ego gets bruised, when temptation knocks, and when no one else is around to witness your choices. She values the kind of man who doesn't use status to hide from accountability, the man who doesn't flex his achievements to silence criticism or cover up emotional immaturity, because she's seen that before. She's been in rooms where everyone was impressed but no one was fulfilled, where people wore masks made of status, hiding insecurity, control issues, and a deep fear of being truly seen. She's not trying to be with a man who wants applause. She's looking for a man who can handle truth, who can handle her truth. A man who doesn't shrink or deflect when called out, but leans in with curiosity, not ego. Clout is loud, but character is quiet. Character shows up when you speak to someone with kindness even when they can do nothing for you. It shows when you follow through on your promises, not because it's convenient, but because you said you would. It shows when you own your mistakes, when you choose honesty over manipulation, when you show up consistently instead of playing emotional games. That's what she's watching. That's what makes her lean forward, because while others might be chasing the man on the stage, she's watching how he acts backstage. And here's the thing, she's not intimidated by success. She celebrates it. But she doesn't glorify it above substance. Your ambition doesn't scare her, but your inability to stay grounded might. She's looking to build something real, not perform for the world. She's not here to be part of your highlight reel. She wants the messy, the real, the in-between moments too. She wants to be with someone whose values aren't seasonal, someone who doesn't change with the crowd, who can stand in his truth even when it's not popular. She wants a man who's unshakable in his integrity. Because clout fades, status can be taken away in a heartbeat. People are fickle, platforms change. What you have today could be gone tomorrow. But who you are, your discipline, your emotional maturity, your kindness, your vision, your courage, that's what lasts. That's what stays. And she knows that. That's why she watches closely, because she's not about to build a life with someone who only looks good on paper or performs well in public. She wants a partner, not a project, a teammate, not a trophy. She's not moved by empty words or rehearsed charms. She's listening for alignment. Do your actions match your words? Do you live your values when it's inconvenient? Do you treat her with the same respect when the cameras are off and the room is empty? She's not judging the life you've built. She's examining the foundation, because while the world might be distracted by your house on the hill, she's checking if the walls are hollow. And if she finds out they are, no amount of clout will convince her to stay. Because when you strip away the applause, the status, the recognition, what's left? That's the real question. And she's not asking it to challenge your success, but to protect her peace. She wants to know if the man behind the image is the man who can love her with depth, protect her with truth, and show up with realness. She wants emotional security, not just financial security. She wants to know that when life tests you, your first response won't be to run, lie, or perform, but to stay, to speak with honesty, and to lead with heart. So no, she's not impressed by your blue check mark. She's impressed by how you handle pressure, by how you treat her on her worst day, by how you make her feel safe, seen, and valued. She doesn't need you to impress the world. She needs you to show up for her in private. That's the real flex. That's the energy she respects. And if you have clout but no character, she will walk away without blinking, because she's not afraid to start over. She'd rather be alone in her peace than trapped in a relationship built on image. You want her attention? Be real, be kind, be solid, not flashy, not loud, just consistent. Because when she meets a man whose character runs deep, whose energy is calm, whose words and actions line up, she feels safe. And that safety, that's priceless. That's the kind of wealth you can't earn through status, you earn it through integrity. And that's what she's after every single time. A good woman doesn't see wealth in material accumulation. She sees it in the energy you bring into a room. She sees it in how calm your presence feels when everything around you is loud. She sees it in your ability to choose peace over pride, truth over convenience, and respect over control. For her, real wealth is not what's parked in your driveway or sitting in your bank account. Real wealth is being with someone who knows how to love without manipulation, lead without domination, and live without constantly chasing external validation. You could take her to the finest restaurants, dress her in designer, and fly her first class across the world, and none of it will matter if she doesn't feel safe with you, if she can't breathe when she's around you, if she has to walk on eggshells or question your loyalty, your consistency, your values. Her peace is her currency. And once it's disrupted, once she feels like the connection is costing her more mentally and emotionally than it's giving, she will detach, no matter how good it looks from the outside. She wants peace, not just the absence of drama, but the presence of intentional, grounded, steady love. The kind of peace that comes from knowing you're not in a war with your partner, that you don't have to decode mixed messages or second guess their love. The kind of peace that lets her soften into her feminine without fearing she'll be taken advantage of. Because when a woman feels safe, when she feels emotionally protected, she blossoms. She gives you her best. She becomes a force not just beside you, but with you. And she defines respect as more than just being spoken to kindly. She defines it as emotional accountability. She watches how you treat her emotions when they don't make sense to you. She listens to how you respond when she sets a boundary. She sees how you behave when you're challenged or disagreed with. Because any man can be respectful when things are easy. It's how you move during tension, conflict, and frustration that tells her who you really are. And respect to her means choosing her even when your ego doesn't want to. It means being mindful of her heart, her energy, her capacity, not taking her for granted just because she's strong enough to endure. Then there's integrity. That's a non-negotiable for her. And integrity to her is not a buzzword. It's your actions when no one's looking. It's your truth when it's uncomfortable. It's your commitment to your own growth, even when it means confronting your flaws. She values a man who can look in the mirror and be honest with himself. A man who doesn't manipulate reality to stay comfortable. She doesn't expect perfection, but she does expect ownership. You mess up, own it. You fall short, say it. You need help, ask for it. Because in her world, integrity is more attractive than image, and vulnerability is strength. She's not here for a man who's emotionally careless, who weaponizes silence or gaslights when he's called out, who plays games to stay in control. She's not interested in a man who uses his status or success to bypass doing the inner work. She wants the man who is willing to sit in the discomfort of growth, who is willing to say, I was wrong without making it a weakness, who sees her not as someone to impress, but someone to build with, someone to trust with the raw, unfiltered, evolving version of himself. Because to her, that's where the richness of life is, in the depth of connection, the honesty of conversation, the quiet trust that builds day by day. You can't buy that, you can't fake it, you can't substitute it with fancy things or big gestures. You build it by being consistent, by being present, by showing her that she matters. When no one's watching, when the cameras are off, when the world is silent. And here's the truth most won't tell you. A good woman doesn't need your money, she needs your maturity, she needs your clarity, she needs your heart, open and ready, not guarded and ego-driven. She needs you emotionally available, not emotionally aloof. She needs a man who is aware of his own triggers, who doesn't project his pain onto her. That's the life she's building, one where love feels like peace, not survival, where connection feels like expansion, not performance. She knows her value, and she knows the cost of staying in spaces that drain her. So when she chooses you, know that it's not because of what you have, it's because of who you are, because you brought her peace, because you showed her respect, because your integrity didn't waver when things got hard. That's when she leans in, that's when she gives more, because to a good woman, love is sacred. And if you protect it with the same energy you use to pursue her, you'll have something that no money, no fame, no clout could ever replace. When a good woman decides to open her heart, it's not because she's impressed by what you drive, where you live, or how expensive your shoes are. It's because she sees something deeper. She sees your emotional presence. She's paying attention to how available you are to the connection, how present you are with her thoughts, and how open you are with your own. She's not looking for a life that just looks good in pictures. She wants one that feels safe in real time. And that safety starts with emotional availability. She doesn't want to guess how you feel. She doesn't want to play games just to get your attention. She's tired of surface level interactions. She's done with men who show up with status but shut down when things get real. She's done with connections that look good in public but feel empty in private. She wants the kind of relationship where vulnerability isn't punished, it's welcomed. Where honesty isn't avoided, it's expected. Because for her, emotional intimacy is the highest form of wealth. And you can't fake that, no matter how shiny your lifestyle may seem. She's not here to decode your silences or interpret your avoidance as depth. She's not here to babysit your ego or be the emotional mule carrying the weight of the relationship while you hide behind your image. If she asks how you're feeling, she genuinely wants to know. If she shares her fears, she's not being dramatic. She's inviting you into her inner world. And how you respond tells her everything. Are you brushing it off? Are you uncomfortable with her truth? Are you changing the subject? She notices, because she knows emotional availability isn't about being soft, it's about being strong enough to stay open. It takes real strength to express how you feel. It takes courage to say, I'm struggling, or that hurt me, or I need help. And that kind of strength, that kind of raw truth, that's what turns her head. That's what earns her trust. Because when you can meet her at that level, when you can sit with uncomfortable emotions without running, when you can show her the parts of you that aren't polished or perfect, she sees a man she can build with. A man who's not afraid of the storm because he's already faced his own. That's powerful. That's rare. She wants a relationship where both people are emotionally awake, where communication is a two-way street, not a one-woman show. She wants to know that when things get heavy, you won't shut down or disappear, but lean in. That you'll hold space for her just like she's ready to hold space for you. And holding space doesn't mean having all the answers. It means being present, listening, sitting in the silence when there's nothing to say, reaching for her hand even when you don't have the perfect words. That's emotional availability. And that's what makes her feel seen, because being emotionally available isn't just about being able to cry or have deep talks. It's about consistency. It's about showing up even when you're tired, even when you're unsure, even when it's easier to disconnect. It's about being intentional with your love, choosing to check in, choosing to respond with care, choosing to stay engaged when life gets busy or messy. She doesn't want you to be perfect. She wants you to be present. And presence to her is the ultimate demonstration of love. She doesn't need another man who's emotionally unavailable but financially generous. She doesn't need a man who throws money at problems instead of talking through them. She's not impressed by a man who buys gifts but can't apologize, who shows up for anniversaries but vanishes during emotional crises. She needs more than appearances. She needs depth. She needs connection. She needs the kind of partner who understands that true intimacy isn't built in grand gestures, it's built in daily emotional effort. And if you've never been taught how to be emotionally available, she gets it, she has grace for that. But she also needs to see that you're willing to learn, that you're willing to unlearn old habits, that you're not too proud to grow. Because emotional availability isn't just something you magically have, it's something you choose to cultivate through therapy, through reflection, through conscious effort. And when she sees you choosing that work, not just for her, but for yourself, her walls come down, her trust rises, her love deepens. Because emotional availability tells her that you care enough to be real, that you care enough to be uncomfortable, that you care enough to meet her where she is, not where it's convenient. And when you do that, when you show up emotionally and not just materially, she gives you a kind of love that can't be bought, a kind of loyalty that no clout could ever match. She pours into the man who sees her, not just with his eyes, but with his heart. So if you want to keep her, forget the flex. Drop the facade, be honest, be raw, be reachable. Because in her world, love that can be felt will always matter more than love that can be posted. She's not asking you to be perfect, she's asking you to be present. And that kind of man, that kind of love, that's forever. A good woman is not sitting around waiting to be chosen. She is out there building, growing, evolving. She isn't knocking on doors that refuse to open, and she sure as hell isn't begging for validation from a man who doesn't see her worth. She's not chasing value because she is value. Everything she does, how she carries herself, how she speaks life into the people around her, how she pours into her purpose is proof of that. She's not here to complete someone. She's already whole. She's looking for alignment, not approval. You'll know her when you see her. She doesn't enter a room loudly, but her presence is unmistakable. She's rooted, grounded, clear. She knows who she is, and that makes her magnetic. Not because she's flashy or always trying to stand out, but because she's done the inner work. She's been through enough to know what's real and what's noise. She values peace over popularity, substance over show, and purpose over performance. And when she loves with intention, not desperation. A good woman isn't interested in impressing you. She's interested in impacting you. She doesn't want to just look good beside you. She wants to grow with you, build with you, challenge you in the best ways, and hold space for the most vulnerable parts of your soul. And in return, she expects a man who's not intimidated by her power, but inspired by it. She doesn't want to dim down just to make a man feel more secure. She wants someone who matches her energy, not someone she has to shrink herself for. She adds value in ways the world can't always measure. She might not always be the loudest in the room, but she's the one people trust, the one people turn to when they need wisdom, calm, and strength. She's emotionally intelligent, spiritually aware, and mentally resilient. Her love language might be building you up when you're breaking down, reminding you of who you are when life tries to make you forget. She's the kind of woman who will sit with you in your silence and still make you feel heard. She'll push you not because you're not enough, but because she sees how much more is in you. But here's what you need to understand. She's not chasing anyone. Not attention, not clout, not love that has to be begged for. She knows her presence is a gift. Her time is sacred. Her love is rare. And if you don't see that, she's not going to argue. She'll walk away, not because she's cold, but because she respects herself too much to stay where she's undervalued. She doesn't need to prove herself to be loved. She needs to be loved in a way that honors what she already brings. Chasing for her is a form of misalignment. It's not her nature. She attracts because she aligns, because she's rooted in authenticity, because she's done chasing emotionally unavailable men, breadcrumb relationships, and potential that never turns into reality. She's interested in men who are clear about their intentions, emotionally available, and consistent in their effort. If you're still playing games, she's not your audience. She's not intrigued by mystery if it costs her peace. She doesn't want confusion. She wants connection, the real kind, the raw kind, the kind that doesn't make her guess if she's good enough. You see, value doesn't chase, it chooses. And when she chooses you, it's not because she's desperate, it's because she sees a future. She sees alignment, she sees purpose. And when she decides to pour into you, she doesn't do it halfway. She supports you when no one's clapping. She reminds you of your vision when the world gets loud. She believes in the man you're becoming, not just the version you show on good days. That's value. That's partnership. That's the woman who will ride with you through storms and still help you rebuild. But don't mistake her support for submission. Don't confuse her grace for weakness. She's not staying around if you start to fumble what she brings, because she's not chasing love, she's creating it. And if you don't meet her with the same energy, the same heart, the same emotional maturity, she'll go quietly, completely. And you won't get another version of her, because the woman who adds value doesn't need to scream to be heard. Her absence will echo louder than words ever could. She knows that her energy is currency, that her ability to love deeply, heal intuitively, and inspire constantly is not common. So if you get the chance to stand beside her, don't take it lightly, because while she's not chasing value, she's also not wasting time convincing someone to see hers. And when you recognize that, when you meet her with the same level of depth, presence, and purpose, that's when the magic happens. That's when value meets value. And together you build something bigger than both of you.